It's time to disclose that popular theology goes hand in hand with Israelite anthropology. It throws the old soul into Sheol. The new one, they say, is ethereal. Can't hear it, it's an immaterial spirit. Everywhere is nowhere near it. But Hebrews saw a body of dirt. Though once inert, a breath brought life. Then husband and wife. Pretty soon begetting was getting rife. Witty tune, not for abetting strife. A wise man said, "We're mammals." This is knowledge, not trammels. What is human nature? To dirt we revert, don't animadvert. It's not my nomenclature. Israelite writers wrote it. Materialist anthropology, please note it. As you could probably tell from the opening poem, we're talking about Israelite anthropology. That is, the ancient Israelite understanding of human nature. Right off the bat, I should say that not all Israelites thought precisely the same thing. Yet, there is a view that stands out as dominant in their surviving literature. First, understanding is almost always, if not always, aided by contrasts. So, we'll use the dominant anthropology of popular theology today as a point of comparison. Generally speaking, most religious people have a dualistic theory of human nature. Our body is acknowledged to be physical, but our mind, including intellect, feelings, emotions, consciousness, etc., is typically thought to be non-physical and to be attributable only to a non-physical soul or spirit. And this non-physical aspect is regarded as the true self. After all, it's thought to be the only part that can think and have consciousness, including self-consciousness. In other words, our sense of self. Since the soul is believed to be non-physical, it's quite naturally regarded as indestructible, since it has no parts that could be disassembled. The death of the body is thus thought to have no impact on the continued existence of the soul. And hence, when someone dies, people often speak of that person as being in heaven or hell, even while their body is in a casket or in the ground. Again, this is because the true self is thought to be the soul, and the body was simply the temporary dwelling of the soul. Now, ancient Israelites did not have this view, and neither did Jesus or his earliest followers. We'll read and talk about a few passages to illustrate what they believed, but in the present episode, we'll restrict ourselves to texts in the Hebrew Bible. First, let's quote from Genesis 2:7, which describes the Israelite God, Yahweh, making a human. Here's what it says. "And Yahweh of the deities formed the human, dirt from the ground, and he blew into his nostrils respiration of life, and the human became a living body." Okay, a few quick observations. Notice, it doesn't say that Yahweh formed the body of a human, or the body for a human. It says that he formed the human. The human here actually is the formed dirt. Notice also that it isn't dirt plus an immaterial spirit or soul that constitutes the human. It is simply the organized dirt. Once formed, the human wasn't immediately alive. So Yahweh blew into his nostrils and he started breathing. The fact that he blew into his nostrils should make it clear that it's talking about literal breath, not some spiritual essence or anything like that. One more point. The last part of the verse says that the human became a living body. The word here translated body is nephesh. It's the word that most translations translate as soul, albeit selectively. But this word absolutely does not mean anything like the modern concept of soul. Originally, it actually just meant throat. For example, Psalm 105:18. They afflicted in fetters his feet, into iron went his throat. Or Ecclesiastes 6:7. All the labor of the human is for his mouth, and yet his throat will not be filled. Obviously, the word nephesh in these passages actually means throat. It can't mean an immaterial mind or anything like that. Can you bind an immaterial mind with iron or fill it with food? Nephesh was also used in poetic expressions referring to acts of speaking. For example, when Isaac was getting old, he told Esau to make him food, and he said he would eat it and, quote, "My throat will bless you before I die." Genesis 27, verse 4. Obviously, this is equivalent to saying, "I will bless you before I die." So, you can see how the equivalence of expressions like "my throat said" and "I said" could lead to the word for throat gradually extending its meaning to also mean the whole person, the self. And since Israelites had a materialistic notion of human nature, the whole person is equivalent to the body. And this is exactly what nephesh came to mean. There are actually a lot of examples of this, like Genesis 1 verse 20, which says, "Let the waters swarm with a swarm of living bodies." That is, fish and other aquatic animals. Again, the word for bodies here is nephesh, the word popularly and incorrectly translated as soul in a whole bunch of other places. Another telling reference is in Numbers 6 in the laws regarding Nazirite vows. One of the things it says is this. This is Numbers 6 verse 6. "All the days of his separation to Yahweh, he must not go over a dead body." The word body here is nephesh. Again, this is the word that most translations render as soul. But notice, this is a dead nephesh, a dead body, clearly not an immaterial, immortal essence of a person. Ancient Israelites didn't think that the true self is a non-physical entity that inhabits a body. They understood the true self to be the body. Again, in Genesis 2 verse 7, the human is dirt from the ground, formed into a body, and when respiration was instigated, the human became a living body. A little later in the same story, after the human ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, Yahweh said to him, quote, "In the sweat of your nostrils you will eat bread, until you return to the ground, for from it you were taken. For dirt you are, and to dirt you will return." Genesis 3:19. Again, the human is dirt. The human isn't an immaterial entity temporarily inhabiting dirt. The view of human nature presented in this text is thoroughly materialistic. Humans are organized matter, particularly organized dirt. And if you think about it, this is a very empirical view of human nature. In reality, when someone dies, they decompose and indeed do turn into dirt. Ancient Israelites would know this from their own observations. And just to cover all bases, they really did apply this understanding of human nature to all humans, not just the one that Yahweh formed in Genesis 2. For example, Psalm 103 verse 14 says, "For he has known our form, he has remembered that we are dirt." There's a lot more that could be quoted, and a lot more that could be said even about what I have quoted, but we'll just do one more passage. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 18 to 20. "And I said in my heart on the matter of the sons of the humans, the deities chose them in order to show them that they are themselves mammals. For what befalls the sons of the humans, and what befalls the mammals? What befalls them is one. As the death of this, so the death of that. And one breath is for all. And the advantage of the humans over the mammals is nothing, for all are vapor. all go to one place. All are from the dirt, and all return to the dirt. Ecclesiastes 3:18-20. Clearly, this text also presents us with a materialistic anthropology. Humans are not presented as dual beings, but as unitary beings, made of material stuff. We are said to be no different than mammals. And yeah, as you just heard, the text overtly says that we humans are ourselves mammals. We and all the other mammals breathe the same breath and die the same death. We are from the same dirt, and we return to the same dirt. So again, what is human nature? To dirt we revert, don't animadvert. It's not my nomenclature. Israelite writers wrote it. Materialistic anthropology, please note it. So there are a few additional things I'd like to mention. First, all the passages quoted here are from my own translation, which I'm calling not a Bible translation, since, well, it's not a Bible translation. I'll doubtless be talking about that more in future episodes. Another thing I want to mention has to do with an upcoming Zoom series. If you're listening to this after October 19, 2022, it'll be too late for the live series, but recordings of it should be on YouTube. In either case, make sure to check out the description since I'll put relevant links there. Okay, so the day this podcast is being published, September 28, 2022, is the new moon of the 7th Hebrew month, which is an Israelite feast day known as the Memorial of Blasting, understood as commemorating the blasting of trumpets in Israel's wilderness wanderings. 10 days from now will be the Day of Atonement, and then 5 days after that begins the 8-day Feast of Tabernacles. During the Feast of Tabernacles, myself and a few other Branch Davidians will be hosting a series of Zoom meetings on a topic related to what we talked about in this episode. To be more specific, it's on the personality of God, which is a pillar doctrine of Seventh-day Adventism, even though it's been mostly forgotten in Seventh-day Adventism today. Whether you're SDA or not, you should find it pretty interesting. It will explain a very old, yet little-known view of the nature of God. Anyway, the meetings will be held from October 11 through 18 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time each night. Again, check the description for links. Also, as a lead-up to that series, for the next 10 days, that is, from now up until the Day of Atonement, I'll be posting short blog posts and podcasts on subjects that'll help orient you for the Personality of God series. This episode was the first one of those topics. That said, I hope you'll join us for the series, and in any case, I'll talk to you in the next episode.